Hi, welcome back to the Fetch Quest podcast, where we talk about video games and more. Today, I'm joined by me and my fellow host Brewer
What's up, guys?
and Jay.
What's up?
So, boys, I'm gonna be honest. I have been really on the grind for a minute. I've been working toward. I've been working like holy crap. What about y'all?
Yeah, dude, same here. Like, I've been putting in a lot of overtime lately just to get that dough. This past couple weeks, wake up early and then get a long day working. But you know what? Got to get that cash.
Yeah, I know what you mean, dude. I've been studying like 4 hours a night for my exams in school. It's been rough.
Yeah, that grind. Yo! I just got a Rathalos plate. Let's go! Oh my God!
What?
Yes, this is what I needed.
What?
What?
Yeah. You know, like getting the Rathalos plate for like the mail piece in Rise or World. You know, just like because I need
Shut up, Blizzard Simp.
Shut up.
I need that weakness exploit, guys.
You haven't been on that grind.
I have, and that
You've been
segues us,
grinding on that tail. That's all you've been doing.
and that is the perfect segue into today's topic. Today we are going to be covering a very awesome video game series and beloved to us, Monster Hunter, published by Capcom. Boys, what do we think of Monster Hunter?
Dude, I've been playing since 4 Ultimate. That series is goated.
It's one of my favorite game series of all time. Like, it's such a big part of my life.
Dude, that's
I
so true.
know.
Um,
Dude, I have like so many hours sunk into it. I'm pretty sure for like generations on the 3DS, I had like hundreds of hours.
I think in the series in total, I have around, God, I would say about 1,500 hours. Yeah.
You know, what, I'm probably in the
Yeah, we don't
1,000
talk about
range if we're talking about the series.
Yeah, I'm talking about like series, yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, we don't talk about the amount of hours me and Guy put in the world.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, Monster Hunter World was so good. Fun fact, this this really hits home for me and Jay especially. Me and Jay met each other because of Monster Hunter.
Wait, really?
yeah,
Yeah, we did. Oh yeah,
yeah.
Brewer, we never told you this, did we?
Oh, am I about to get some J lore?
We're about to get some Jay. Jay, do you want to explain it or me?
I'll go ahead and explain it.
Go for it,
It
man.
was right. It was right at the is a little while after Iceborne came out, and we were doing the what were they called?
The Guiding Lands.
Yeah, Guiding Lands. We were going to Guiding Lands, and I think I joined his Guiding Lands,
it
and
was either I joined you
and
or
he
you joined me. It was one of the two, but it
yeah,
doesn't matter.
and he ended up inviting me to a party. We killed monsters, and it just kind of kicked off from there. We kind of kept playing the game together.
What is
Oh
that
man,
background
that's
noise?
cool. It's a Kizu.
Bro. Oh my God. But yeah, it's so weird because like, so Xbox, we played on Xbox by the way. It has a feature called what was it, like group post? Yeah, it was group post, where if you needed help with like a certain game or whatnot, you could put the game that you needed help with and like put a description of it, like, hey, I need players who can help me with this task, yada yada, and it was a good way for people. It was like a good way for people who didn't have friends like who played that game to have people help them out, and that is how me and Jay met each other. And it was after the yeah, like you said, it was after the release of the DLC Monster Hunter World Iceborne, and they introduced a thing called the Guiding Lands, which was a really big grind thing, but we helped each other out, and then now we're like best friends. It's oh my God, it's so
Dude,
good.
that is really wholesome.
It's so wholesome, and because of stuff like that, Monster Hunter is like so close to me.
No, I've loved
Yeah.
Monster Hunter Online lobbies because even when they were really basic, like 4 Ultimates where I started, and I sucked at the game when I first started, so I joined a lot of hubs to get help. Even though we were just typing into 3DS, like it was so much fun, just like playing for hours, helping people with quests. You need a Rathalos plate, like I was talking about. You all join up into a Rathalos lobby, and then you wait, is that a shiny Jumpluff?
No way you
Holy
just
crap!
found. No way you
Shiny!
just found a shiny jump off mid
Oh
recording.
my god, yeah, I'm saving right now.
Holy crap. Okay, editor's note. Please put a shiny jump off in this for that. Holy
Oh my
crap.
god,
Wow, that is
I was
real.
just walking around.
No way. That is crazy.
I know.
That is
Okay, but
crazy.
back on topic.
Yeah, back on topic. I think we need to talk
But
about
yeah,
what exactly like Monster Hunter is, because we've gone about 4.5 minutes without saying anything like what it is.
you hunt monster.
All right, Monster Hunter is a game where you hunt monsters. Boom.
You beat monster in face, carve monster, make armor, hunt more monsters, rinse, repeat.
Yes. I mean, yeah, that's kind of like the basic of it. Like,
Yeah, well, the idea is simple. The execution is really good.
it's one of the most complex, yet best systems ever. It's so good. The
There's
replay,
so much more. Oh, it's
yeah, it's
amazing.
so good. So,
Well, the best part is the monster design because, like, the weapons, while some of them can be pretty complex, like the charge blade, a lot of them can be pretty simple, like hammer. You bonk the monster's head. There's not much else. But it's the monsters which make you play around with the kits you have, which gives it complexity.
true. Um, God, we need to talk about like the gameplay loop. It's so good. Essentially, what you do in Monster Hunter is that you're able to pick between. I mean, as of like in the recent games, 14 weapons. The amount of weapons that you can choose from like differs between games because some were like released later on.
Yeah.
But essentially, you choose a weapon that fits your playstyle, and you're never not gonna find a weapon that doesn't fit your playstyle because they're so varied and they do different things. But you go out and you hunt these monsters, these like gargantuan beasts, and they're built up to be like really like big hazards for the ecosystem, so it makes the player like feel more motivated to take it down and feel better when you take it down. But when you do take down these monsters, you are able to collect their materials. These materials are you can use them to craft armor specific towards that monster or craft more weapons depending on the monster. So like let's say I main the long sword. It's a long katana blade that focuses a lot on offense and evasion, but lacks defense. What I would do, what you do is that like if I were to fight a like one of the early game monsters, I would fight them, collect their materials, and their materials I would use to upgrade to make my longsword that I currently had better. And even then, there were skill trees, so you could actually have multiple of the same the weapon type, depending on like a certain build. Like let's say one monster is it's a fire monster, but it's weak to water. I could have a water longsword, and I could fight. It would be
Fire
better.
resistant gear.
Yeah, with fire resistant gear, so that I can make the fight easier for myself. That's just like the
Yeah.
basic gameplay loop of Monster Hunter, which it sounds simple at first, but because of like you see yourself like getting better not only statistically but like gameplay wise because you're learning how these monsters move and how they interact with one another and yourself, you feel so good when these quests like that usually take like 20 minutes like keep going down and down and down until like 5 minute quest. It's so good.
Well, also that thing you mentioned about like I'm gonna get the water longsword to help beat the fire monster, like that, getting a specific weapon to deal with the monster, that just like goes so many ways because like then there's you want to upgrade the weapon to deal more damage or to keep its sharpness up for a while. So you fight a different monster to get the gem you need for that, and then the
It's also
armor you want
skills
some.
on the armor.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like let's say I want Slugger, since like I use hammer a lot to tire out the monster really quickly. I'm
Yeah.
gonna go fight some different monsters, get that on my hammer, and then I'm gonna fight the big boss monster that is probably gonna kick my ass 10 times, and I'm gonna be drinking all my mega potions. Because that's how it be. You get your shit kicked in.
It's yeah, you get
Gameplay loop is easy, but it's a hard game at times.
Yeah. Well, the newer games are a lot more beginner friendly. Since I am gonna say, starting from 4 Ultimate as a little boy with no experience, yeah, you got your shit kicked in.
Well,
the other
in my opinion, it's probably gonna be very controversial. The difficulty of the older games came from the controls,
I wouldn't. Maybe like the original
maybe to an extent.
Monster Hunter, because like
Yeah,
I know for the original that released on like PSP, I think you had to use
yeah.
the best control scheme that most people would recommend was like the claw grip,
yeah, there were
which just
some
isn't the comfiest. Even the developers were seeing like using that.
no, there's some legitimacy about that because like I mean, there were some games on of Monster Hunter that were on the 3DS, and the 3DS did not have two analog sticks, so you would have to Oh yeah, some
Use
Monster
the
Hunter.
bump control your camera.
Yeah, you had to use like the little like motion thing that was on the top right for like new 3DSs, which is it was so weird.
Well, can I actually talk on that because
Yeah,
that's
go
how
for
I
it.
actually got my start into Monster Hunter. Because I saw the new Nintendo 3, again, really dumb name, new Nintendo 3DS, but it's not new anymore. But I saved up to get that, and one of the first games I got because I saw like, hey, this supports the little D-stick nub on there, was Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate, and that's how I got my start into the series.
Yeah.
So yeah, the little nub wasn't the best, but it was really nice for camera controls because it's about the same as modern Monster Hunter. You use the second stick to move it around.
Mm-hmm.
But on a base 3DS, yeah, that would have been a bit more of the pain because all the other controls are fine, they work good, but the camera, you either had the option of D-pad, this little D-pad thing that was on the touch screen, or you select the monster, and then if you press L, just tap it real quick instead of holding it for the menu, it would focus on the monster. Well, they still have that in the newer games too, but that would be your main way of doing it in 4 Ultimate at least. If you didn't have the new Nintendo 3DS or a Circle Pad Pro attachment.
Like the circle pad was really good. Like I liked the circle pad. Like it helped out a lot in my older and 3DS games I played. Like I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah, definitely.
For sure, for sure. So
Not every game supported it, but when they did support it, it was just a nice little thing to have.
oh, for sure, for sure.
It made the movement way better.
Oh yeah.
I think one thing we should probably talk about is like what game we started with. Like bro, you said you mentioned Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate, which was on the 3DS.
It was the goat.
Like
It was the goat.
me and Jay, we both started on Monster Hunter World, and any veteran Monster Hunter fans, they'll probably be like, "Oh, they're carried. They don't understand the pain." Fatal. Hey,
Here,
hey,
let me put it put it in the terms that I know best. Fucking casuals.
exactly.
Yeah,
I
that's how it sounds.
we beat Fatalis. I don't want to hear it. I really
No,
don't
I'm
want to
not
hear it.
discrediting it. I'm just
I know, I know, I know.
imitating voice.
The house was such a hard monster.
God, it was such a hard fight. For anyone who doesn't know what we're talking about, the final boss that they released ever for Monster Hunter World, they released content for the game as like its life as it went on. It was just to like keep people engaged with the game and also like not overwhelm them with a lot of content like at release because it would be extremely overwhelming. But one of the last boss that they ever released for Monster Hunter World was called Fatalis. It is it's an older monster. Like it's
It's a
not.
black.
Yeah, it's something called a black dragon, which is like there are only 8 of them ever in like all of Monster Hunter. They're a type of monster that is like a peak. That they're like the peak. They're like the gods of the world. And Fatalis is one of these black dragons. And in the older games, like from my understanding, like he wasn't like the hardest. Like he can be difficult at times, but not the hardest. But in Monster Hunter World, they designed him so that he would devastate you if you did not like prepare well whatsoever. He punished bad players. You had to be good at the game to even have a chance of beating him.
If you had a skill issue, you would find out.
You would find out through Fatalis. Like that's not even a joke. Like Jay and I
And like the ranking of monsters kind of once like you have your normal monsters that you fight that you begin the game off with, then like you go on to Elder Dragons. I don't think there's anything between those. Then
Yeah.
I mean, there's high rank, low rank, and then G rank.
yeah,
Yeah, but
But I
those
mean,
are like,
just
there's like
like-
difficulties. It's not. Yeah, that's not like.
yeah, those
Yeah.
those are the.
Yeah, I mean, like obviously,
And
like,
then it goes to Black Dragons, which wasn't in World for the longest time.
yeah, they didn't release any Black Dragons until its DLC, which is kind
Yeah.
of crazy, but it makes sense.
Do they have any Black Dragons in Rise right now?
No, they don't actually.
I mean,
That might- that might be, like,
sense
final
they're still
thing.
getting. Yeah, it's probably best to save it till the end. I think that's what makes it hype. just like it's kind of like Smash. They're about to release a new trailer for the monsters, and then you see one of your favorites return, and you're like, "Oh, it's him! It's Gormagala! That's my boy! That's the goat! That's the
Gormagala,
goat!"
Gormagala. That is
Gormagala.
one of the coolest monsters in the series. For those who don't know, Gormagala is
It spreads COVID.
yeah.
It spreads COVID.
It has its own mechanic. It's called Frenzy, which if you get afflicted by Frenzy, there's a certain amount of time where if you attack the monster, then when Frenzy builds up, you actually gain an attack boost. But if you let Frenzy build up without attacking enough, then you actually gain a negative effect of Frenzy, where like your attack gets decreased in something else. I forget.
And Gormagala is one of those unique monsters that has actually 3 different variants or subvariants that you want to talk about.
Yeah, he does. He does.
Well, because one of
'Cause
his
there's-
variants too turns him into an Elder Dragon.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Gormagala
Which-
is.
Here, you want to explain Elder Dragons first?
We should probably like be more in depth with this. Elder dragons are like, of course they're dragons, but most of the time there's one.
Kieran.
Yeah, Kieran is it's an elder dragon, but it's a unicorn. Play image up here. But elder dragons, they're like described in the game lore as like these monsters that are able to warp the environment around them and can cause like serious damage.
yeah.
So obviously like they're built up to be like these really really big dogs, and they're the hardest like fights in the game. But the thing is that but going back to Gormagala himself is actually not an elder dragon, but
At his base form.
at his base form. But when he actually like sheds his skin, he transforms into Shigaru Magala, which is like a golden form, and that is actually considered an elder dragon, which is
Yeah.
really cool because it's the only monster in the series that I'm pretty sure that like when it like does its like metamorphosis, or like when it like continues to like just like grow, I want to say it's like the only one that actually like transforms into an elder dragon, which I think is really sick.
Yeah. Then there's the one in between where he gets interrupted in the middle of his transformation. Chaotic Gormagala.
I cannot believe how hard that fight is. Oh my god.
Yeah, well, that isn't for like all Gormagalas, but apparently it's like a rare occurrence when like they don't like molt properly. They get stuck in between forms. So then also the like hormones and emotions they have, they go into like a frenzied state.
What? Isn't that a thing in real life?
Rabies.
Hold on, I'm looking this up right now. I'm actually looking this up.
Well, I do know with the monsters, like one of the reasons too Monster Hunter is so beloved is the monster design. They try, even though they're like very unrealistic, to real life, they try to make it realistic in the game's world and lore, because each monster has like an explanation to like why they can do these things. There's like this one can breathe fire because of like some heat sacs in its body. Devil Joe eats a lot because if it doesn't, it will starve to death and go extinct. So
Oh,
it has a
yeah,
ravenous appetite.
Yeah, the lore with Monster Hunter is really deep, like for the monsters. They really want you to think that these things are real, and especially in Monster Hunter World, they feel so real. It's crazy.
Yeah, that is the one thing I think World definitely does have over Rise, well, other than like nicer graphics. But definitely just again making it feel like an actual world, because with Rise most of the times when monsters interact, it's you wyvern riding, running into them and slamming the monster into the face of the other monster,
Hmm.
or them kind of just doing that on their own.
Yeah, which adds to like the realism in my opinion. I love how World like portrays its like monsters. They're real creatures. Like they'll fight over each other over like territorial stuff. They'll kill
Yeah,
like
it's one of the things that occur.
they will kill like if you don't mess with a monster and if it's not like aggressive, they will actually, if they get hungry, which is a stat apparently, they will kill small monsters and eat them.
And you can watch this happen in the middle of the hunt.
Exactly. There's one, oh god, Devil Joe. This one is amazing. I cannot believe it's the only monster in the game I think that does this. But Devil Joe is a fan favorite Probably, I think last time I remember is like the number one voted fan favorite in like monster in the entire series. Am I right about that?
It's the
I'm not
pickle.
really sure. They do a lot of polls on that,
Yeah,
but I would definitely say he is a fan favorite at minimum, probably top 10
probably top three. I'm gonna be honest. Everyone loves
because
Devil Joe.
like sick design, like really good fight, weapons
Exactly.
and armor, not always the best, but a lot of them do look pretty cool. So
Exactly.
he's good at that. And
Um.
again, he's a pickle. How could you not love him?
Exactly. But
That's my favorite joke.
he is a pickle. He does look like a pickle. It's crazy. But
Yeah,
Devil
it's a
Joe's the
pickle that will tear your face off.
Devil Joe's the only monster in Monster Hunter World to do this. But if you were around like a small large monster, like okay, there's a difference between small monsters and large monsters. Small monsters you can beat in a few hits. They don't really give you anything like material wise, or they're basically kind of useless. Meanwhile, large monsters are like the ones that are going to take you like 10 minutes to beat, and like are the ones that have like the good gear. Devil Joe is the only monster, like large monster in the game, who can grab and bite other large monsters and put them in his mouth and use them
Man.
as attacks.
Use him as a fucking chew toy and
It's-
throw him at you.
He literally throws them at you, and it's awesome.
Man. Then there's
It kind of reminds me of Breath of the Wild when they like those enemies grab a bokoblin and then just throw them at you.
Oh yeah, the moblins! When the moblins throw the bokoblins, oh my god, it's so funny.
Yeah, because you
I've
don't
seen that.
expect that. You're just fighting them like normal, and then out of nowhere they just grab them and just yeet.
I don't know whether it's a bokoblin and coming at your face at mock Jesus. It's like, what the fuck?
It's so crazy. But that's like the realism of Monster Hunter. Oh god. Anything else we want to talk about like Monster Hunter wise before we like? I want to talk about like what weapons we play.
Zord. I want to keep talking about Devil Joe because he's
Yeah.
so cool. He's my boy.
I know, but I
And I'm
don't want to dedicate everything to Devil Joe, even though I love
But
him
he-
so
no,
much.
no.
I love him so
And I'm so
much.
sad he's not in Rise.
I know.
Dude,
Oh,
imagine
God.
if they had a risen Devil Joe.
Oh god, that would be awesome. Risen monsters are like a new thing in the newest game, Monster Hunter Rise, where it's like it's a variant of like current monster, at least Elder Dragons that they're just more powerful, but they also give like better and new gear, which is pretty cool.
They had new attacks, I think.
Yeah, the new attacks for sure. But
That again, they're hard as hell to fight.
exactly. So that is something you need to like be prepared for that. But do we want to talk about the weapons? Because I think that is probably just as important as the monsters themselves.
Yeah, you go first since we already heard you talk about longsword.
Yeah.
Freaking weeb.
Shut
Weeb.
up. So the main weapon that I play is called the longsword. It is.
Weeb.
I hate you. It is the most played weapon in a Monster Hunter, like just by community standards.
Yeah,
This
he's
is for
like-
bad players.
I hate you. Shut up. That thing requires. Hey, I am a longsword defender. That thing requires skill. You actually need to know timing of monsters and stuff. If you don't, you get one shot.
It requires skill, Jay. You
It
hear this, man?
requires skill.
Skill.
Alright, which
isn't two
How long should we
brain cells.
talking? World longsword or Rise longsword?
World longsword. Rise longsword is a little iffy.
I mean, longswords have always been really strong, but like at least in the older games, I'd say it requires some skill. Now it's just you sheath the sword, you counter strike, you do Spirit Helmbreaker every 5 minutes.
So I'll give it to you in World. It does require skill in World, but in Rise, you can get free counters for days.
I know you can get free stuff.
I
Okay.
will say again, Rise is probably the easiest game in the series. I mean, it's still
Yeah.
hard. You'll get your shit kicked in if you're not ready.
I'm going to make the argument that the end game of Rise was actually more challenging than the end game of World for the most part.
That is something I probably kind of agree with. I'm not even gonna lie.
Well, I haven't.
Well,
played
at
that
least
game
one aspect of it. At least one
Yeah,
aspect of
the
it.
anomaly fights. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah,
There's
because like you can explain it if you want.
Yeah, sure, I'll go for it. There's at the end of Monster Hunter Rise, there's a Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak, which is the DLC for it. There is a new variant of monsters that you can fight now, and they are called anomaly fights. And essentially, what an anomaly fight is that it's a monster that has a lot more HP and does a lot more damage. and they become a lot more aggressive. And you might think, oh, it's just like a minor stat buff and whatnot. No, these things hit hard, 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 hard. And doing these, and you might be asking, okay, what's the point of doing these fights if you might get like gear from these monsters earlier in the game? Well, I'm glad you asked that because anomaly fights actually give you a specific material that allow you to increase the level of your weapons and your armor past their maximum limits, which is called augmenting. And there's a lot of customization with it, but that stuff is so hard to do, especially with the later anomaly fights. Oh my god.
There's a lot more that goes into it.
Yeah, don't they like power up specific body parts too?
They
It's like change up their attack patterns.
Ish. It's like, well, okay, they have something called Quiro on their bodies, which is a part of the plot for Sunbreak. But essentially, a specific body part will be covered by these Quiro insects, and it's your job to attack these parts, because if you attack the parts enough, then the Quiro will actually explode on that part of the monster, so they'll do like an extra like hundreds of damage pretty much. So like it tests the player's like skill to like attack certain parts instead of just like swinging, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, too, depending on where they place it, can be reborn. Because if they put it as like tail or like hind legs, yeah, it wouldn't be super challenging. Well, for most monsters,
Yeah.
but if they like put it on like parts that are gonna like be striking you a lot and parts that a monster is gonna use to actively try to kill you, then yeah, it's gonna be pretty difficult.
Dude, you play the switch axe. That thing is the best counter in the game. I don't want to hear it.
Shut up! You have, Jay, help me.
You know I'm right. You know I'm right.
Jay, grab a hammer so I can smash this man into the ground for his bad opinions.
It's not
Especially
an
with the
opinion.
long
It's a
sword.
fact.
Personally,
Yeah,
I haven't
Switch
played the
X
Switch
deserves
X,
it.
but I know it's really good.
Yeah, and that's a recent buff it got because it deserved it.
That's not even recent. No.
Recent as in, DLC. It didn't have it in base game.
Oh my god, be quiet.
That's what I meant by recent.
Be quiet.
But yeah, guys, your thing has a built-in counter. I have to like use a slot for that.
Oh my god, it's so good. I don't want to hear it. But
Dude, do you see any compilation videos from like Team Darkside? And like those like 2-minute hunts using switch axes? No, you see it with long swords and bows. Nothing
don't wanna
else.
hear Shush.
I've seen Switch Axe completely destroy Fatalis, so shut the fuck up.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, Switch Axe is
Fatalis,
actually like Switch Axe.
that's a
Look,
different
I'm
game.
being serious.
That's a
Like,
different game.
talking about the meta in Rise, Switch Axe is probably the best weapon right now. I'm not even kidding.
Switch axe is good, but longsword is still way too busted.
No, they no. They balance the longsword a little bit. The counters don't do as much damage now.
Really?
Yeah,
Really,
I'm being
really
serious.
No, you're wrong.
No, I'm being serious. Like, longsword still has like the iframes and whatnot, but you're not going to be getting as much reward.
You have
for it.
so many invincibility frames on that.
You have a counter that does so much damage and powers you up. I don't want to hear it.
So, have you seen longswords? Unga Boonga, I sheath blade,
Oh
I
my
counter, spirit helm breaker, rinse repeat. That's the speed run.
Okay,
These filthy casuals and their
I
simple weapons.
I hate this. I think we need to actually talk about what our weapons are and what they do.
Oh god.
So to begin, like as I mentioned earlier, I play a weapon called the longsword, which focuses a lot on evasion and a high offense, but at the cost of defense. So you can't block with it. You can't like you have to focus on evading the monster or timing attacks that have iframes on them so that you don't get hit with a longsword. And I really love that playstyle because it actually forces me to learn the monster's moveset quickly.
Forces them to get good.
It is a good because you can't optimize the weapon unless you don't know like how the monster moves and whatnot, which is something I really enjoy because if I know the monster really really well, then I'm going to like do well in the fight, which is that's a part of the risk reward with that weapon. What about y'all? How about y'all's weapons?
Well, I think the best example. I don't use this weapon as much personally, but you were saying like knowing the monsters for risk reward. I think greatsword is probably the best example of that because
Oh,
it's
for
this
sure.
like big, slow blade. It's not like a Devil May Cry where you can, like, sling the blade around. No, it's big, heavy, so it's slow to come out,
You're
but it
not
does
guts.
a lot of damage.
It's Berserk.
Yeah, you can't. You're not guts. You can't swing that sword like it's a feather.
Exactly.
Yeah, you're just the average man with average man arms. You gotta swing it.
Yeah, but
you're not this big a Chad. You can't.
but the weapon, like, what's really cool about the weapon is that you can charge it, and it actually is. It's been consistently like one of the best weapons in the entire series for speedrunning, just because of how much damage it does. But the problem with it is that like it requires so much skill of like for the game and like how the monsters work and their AI and whatnot. Just so
Positioning, timing,
yeah, and
everything
timing.
goes into it.
Exactly.
Like, one of the favorite things I see a lot of times is like people just knowing when a monster's gonna do like a charging attack or attack where they fly in, so they start charging their greatsword. They come in and then they just swing it at just the right time, and then boom, knockdown.
Which
Stuff
is
like
really
that.
cool.
It rewards you for like the more
Experience.
you learn about the monster, which does involve again getting your shit kicked in. So you first see the monster. I was like, hey, that's a pretty cool guy. That's a pretty cool monkey. And then it's like a furious
Just does
Rajang,
that.
and
That's
then it's
pretty
like,
cool. Oh my god! I did consent.
Hi,
a
monkey.
command grabbed me. Oh, no, 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 no. And then it just slam dunks you into the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's not enough letters in the chimpanzee alphabet to spell out the words consent for.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Yeah,
I love that.
he did the DK rap on me with his fist.
Jesus.
Yeah.
He did the Donkey Kong Hold on, he did the Donkey Kong down B in the air on you.
DK.
Donkey Kong. Boom boom. But yeah, that's just a part of the Great Swords like playstyle and just how it works. Which is
Yeah.
really rewarding. But I think we need to talk about y'all's weapons now.
Oh, can I have one more thing with Greatsword? Because there was one game I used it in.
What was
You
it?
want to guess which one it is?
I'm gonna guess it's either Generations or Res.
Generations Ultimate.
I knew it. I knew it.
You want to know what style I did in Generations Ultimate though?
Rage.
No,
What?
aerial.
What?
Oh, I know what you did. Did you like do that little ledge thing where like you dash off it, jump at like that type of thing?
Yep. So, quick explanation: in Generations Ultimate, they had different styles for weapons. So each one gave you different advantages. So, like, Guild was just like for the normal playstyle of the weapon. Striker, I think that's what it's called. Yeah, it gave you extra arts you could use to attack with, and was just really aggressive. And then the one I use for like greatsword at least was aerial, which involves you jumping off the monster and then attacking it in the air.
That's funny.
So I would just jump up, fly into the air, charge the greatsword, and go whack. Just
It was the Kinsec blade before the Kinsec blade was a thing.
yeah.
Exactly. That's the thing. The insect blade was a thing in that, but it's like, yeah.
Who cares?
Wasn't it?
Who cares? You have aerial greatsword. I can finally be like Guts Berserk, guys.
Shut
Holy!
Stop simping for Berserk for like 5 minutes.
We'll do Berserk eventually. All right, Brewer, what is your weapon?
For which game? Just Rise?
Just
You're
just,
over.
just your favorite weapon or like a weapon you really are passionate about.
At least for Rise, I'm gonna say Hammer.
Yo, that is a sick weapon. Explain it.
It's a very respectable weapon, unlike Longsword,
Shut up.
because you have the very simple strategy of you slap the monster in the face with a big hunk of metal. Or as one YouTuber said, I think Scott Falco.
I know it's Scott Falco. I know what you're about to
Yeah.
say from Scott Falco.
Yeah, you play whack-a-mole with the monster's face.
There you
Yeah, you get stun on the monster so people can do their attacks. You don't trip players up because you aren't a filthy longsword
How about
player.
you explain what the weapon is?
It's a hammer guy. You smack the monster in the face with a hammer.
go.
That's what the weapon
The
is.
guy.
How about you
You
add the
charge-
fact that
you charge-
charge
you
the
charge up
hammer.
the
Yeah.
Yeah, you charge up hammer. You smack a monster in the face. same thing.
Oh my god.
It's a simple playstyle, but it's a fun one. And it's very rewarding too.
Yeah, hammer like unironically is one of my favorite weapons in the series because it's like you also need to know like patterns of it's really for every weapon that you need to know the patterns of monsters and whatnot.
It's a slightly faster greatsword with a little more mobility to it,
But also you can't cut tails.
and also a little less damage.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
You can't
you can cut the tails of monsters.
Okay?
Well,
No,
if
not
you
with
have
hammer, but like we're just saying it like as a mechanic in the game
Oh,
for
man.
our viewers at home.
You break parts, cut tails,
that's
you know.
another part I really love of Monster Hunter. Just the way you can see how you've gradually been beating the ever-loving crap out of the monster.
Yeah, if it
Yeah.
says like you broke horn, you can see like the horn is shattered.
Yeah, so like when I slam my big hammer right into the monster's horn, you know, the horn shatters. It ain't surviving that. I snapped that thing right off like it was a Kit Kat.
Make me a piece of that Kit Kat bar. Boom.
But that adds on to like with you can sever the tails of monsters, but you can only do it with like slicing type weapons,
Which makes sense.
which makes sense. And there's different damaging types depending on the weapons. Like a hammer is gonna be like a blunt type, so it's gonna be really good against like the heads of monsters, so you can build up stun and you can stun the monster a lot easier by doing that.
Yeah, you can give him a concussion and then beat him up for having a concussion.
Pretty much. But it's cool what you can do with Monster Hunter. Jay, tell us your weapon.
The most respectable weapon out of all you motherfuckers, I play the Charge Blade.
Oh my god. Alright, tell us about the Charge Blade.
So the Charge Blade is everyone considers it to be the most complex weapon in the series, which I personally don't think is that complex,
Depends
in
on how
my
you play it.
opinion.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, it depends on how you play it.
Well, yeah, because
But-
that's like one of the only like weapons in the game that you can play completely different.
It's a Swiss Army knife of weapons. Basically, it does everything.
It really does.
But
Without describing mechanics, describe how the weapon itself works.
so
It's really cool.
So you start out in sword and shield mode, okay, and don't do mechanics, but it goes in between two different modes. You got an axe mode and you got a sword and shield mode. In this big axe mode, it has higher damage output, and in sword and shield mode, you can block and do different mechanics that I don't want to go into because there's a lot with it. But it's really cool.
Talk about how the file system works.
Okay, so the file system, when you're in Sword and Shield mode, you can attack the monster and build files. You see this in the top left of your screen and you can charge these files, and then from there you can charge your weapon, you can charge your shield, which makes you able to block more attacks, or you can charge your sword, which makes it where you don't bounce off the monster and do a little extra damage on top of that. But once you get files built up, you can then, instead of like charging I'm not going to go that complex into because there's more to it, but you can use those files in axe mode as well, doing things called super elemental discharges, which is a big damage. It's that big ultimate finisher the weapon has, which is really cool.
It's like the
Which is
highest,
really hard to hit though.
It's like the highest like damaging move in the game, like except for like a few moves, right? Like assuming you hit like all your hits though.
Yeah, depending on what you're doing, honestly. Depending on the monster, what files you're using, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because the Charge Blade also has different file types. You have impact files and you have elemental files. And impact files, you can do stuff like the hammer does, and you can knock out monsters if you hit those files on the monster's head. But elemental files and recently in Monster Hunter Rise, are really busted because the amount of damage you can do with elemental files now in Monster Hunter Rise is ridiculous.
Yeah, because you can hit like elemental, like it's more for like damage and like hitting the elemental weakness of
Yeah.
specific monsters. Yeah.
So like you get the right elemental weapon and the right build, and you got this monster that's weak to that weapon, you're going to be hitting like 500 damage per file or something stupid, depending on what you got going on.
For reference, 500 is a big damage number.
Yeah,
Well, beyond
I've seen
that,
some
I
really
just I
big
just like
numbers.
the concept of the weapon of I have big sword and shield. I put sword into shield. I now have an axe.
I now have big axe. Unga bunga.
Big damage.
Well, same thing with like the switch axe. I have an axe. Now it's a sword. Unga bunga.
Bro, it's so weird. So charge
Weapons
sword.
released at the same time.
So what,
I'm
Jen?
sorry.
No, you're good. You're good.
Didn't the Charge Blade and Switch Axe release at the same time?
No, I think switch axe has been like a mainstay. Charge blade was added in 4 Ultimate along with the Kinsec
Yeah,
blade. I'm
yeah.
pretty sure switch axe has been there for a while.
Yeah, and what were the best weapons in 4? Charge blade and insect
Charge.
Charge Blade.
and insect blade. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's what you'd be seeing in lobbies all the time. Like I saw nothing but people with like the Star Knight armor set and then the Charge blade.
Yep.
That's funny.
That's before they got really good at like balancing weapons. I'll
Yeah.
still
Yeah,
say
yeah, really good at balancing weapons. Longsword go burr.
I will say in the before the patch of like Monster Hunter Rise, the long sword was very much overpowered. It did not. I cannot believe how overtuned that
I
weapon
think
was.
the only game I saw like a serious nerf to longsword was like from 3 to 4, because in 3 you like built up your gauges, right? So you have a spirit gauge with the longsword, and after you damage the monster, if you do a specific spirit attack and you line it up enough times, you build up a gauge that gives you more damage. So you do that and it goes from silver to gold to red. Now
Yeah,
after a
red being
period
the
of time
highest.
of like not doing that, it'll go down and it'll drop a gauge. So from red to gold to silver. But you could like keep recharging that by still doing a spirit attack. So you could constantly have red, or if you drop down to gold, go back to red. But in 4 Ultimate, what sucked about that is you go from silver, gold to red, but you couldn't recharge red, and you would lose all of the gauge once the timer was up.
Okay, that's a
Not gonna
that's a little
little bad.
much. That's a little much.
Yeah.
Because it takes
Not gonna lie, I feel a little bad for our viewers right now because like we're talking about these weapons, and there's so much that goes into them, and oh god, I
Oh
bet it
yeah, and
sounds really
we're probably not even
confusing.
scratching the surface of like what you can do with weapons. It's crazy.
Yeah,
If
so
you
they're trying to
thought
keep it simple without confusing everybody, and that's hard.
if you thought your Elden Ring weapons were funny, holy crap! Play Monster Hunter Sword and Shield. How about that?
I
I'm not
need my
even
oil.
I'm not even kidding.
I need my oils.
The sword and shield is supposed to be like the base weapon of that game, and you can do so much with it. Oh my god,
And Sword and Shield Rise is a lot of fun.
it's so much.
Like I played a
so
little
much
bit of
fun.
Sword and Shield and Rise, and it was so much fun.
I don't think there's a
It's
single weapon
simple
that's
but
not
so
fun.
effective.
I don't think there's a single weapon in the series that's really not fun. I'm gonna be honest. I think they're all designed really
It also
well.
depends on your playstyle.
Well, yeah, of course, and that's why we play different weapons, which is like really cool because it just like they just align with us differently. You know what I mean?
We're only covering a small bit of the weapons, by the way. Like, there's so many other weapons we haven't talked about.
Yeah, we've only talked about like what,
Like, play the
5
game for yourself,
yeah.
and you'll see.
Now, one of the funniest weapons is a hammer, but it's also a horn. So you play some music, you get groovy with it
Oh,
while
the hunting horn.
while smacking a monster in the face.
Giving yourself buffs, beating up a monster, listening to. Never mind, I can't say
Yeah,
that.
Taylor
yeah. No,
Swift.
imagine someone smacks you in the face with a hunk of metal, and then they start playing Tupac right after.
I mean that's essentially what the hunting horn is, which for our viewers, it's a horn that does blunt damage, so it's going to be focusing more on stun damage, but it's really cool because the tunes it's combos that you do with it play like a different song. So depending on the song that you play, it's different combos essentially activate different buffs that you can not only activate for yourself but activate for your party, becoming a really good support weapon.
I hate to be the monster getting my ass beat while the hunter's, like, listening to Toto Africa.
Oh my god.
So,
No, but it's a really cool weapon. It's really fun online too because not only are you like you're dealing like a good amount of damage, but it's also like, oh, you're helping out your party, and it's like it's like you really feel like I don't know, it like good
You,
cooperation if that makes sense.
It's funny, in the older
you're
games,
supportive.
Hunting Horn was mainly a support weapon. Like you only see it in like these groups that are like really working together, but in Rise, you can it does oh my god, the offensive capabilities of the weapon in Rise are so much better than the older games.
Oh, for sure. Like it's still not like I still don't think it's like the best weapon in the game, but it's like it's
No.
really good with like what you can do with it
It's still a major improvement. Like it holds its own now in hunts.
for sure, which is something you really couldn't say for like Monster Hunter 4.
Yeah.
I still
um,
saw a decent amount of like players using hunting horn in lobbies, but I will agree it was more of a support weapon.
exactly. Um, but it's like even though like the hunt at least in the modern games like it's really cool even though like the hunting horn is like a quote unquote support weapon you use it for like so many different things and it's like there's speed runs of like people destroying monsters with a quote unquote support weapon, you know what I mean? It's like it's so cool.
While they're playing jazz.
They're playing
Yeah.
jazz. Which is oh yeah, that's actually a really cool detail about hunting horns is that like depending on the hunting horn, a different note will actually play like on your combo. So you actually get like a different like
Gives you
song
different
for
buffs for Hunting Horn and
yeah,
stuff like that.
yeah. Also, yeah, hunting horns also give like different buffs too. So like this one hunting horn, like, which also goes back into the skill tree that we're talking about near the beginning of the episode. Depending on like where you invest your hunting horn, like skill tree wise, or like for crafting, like there may be this one hunting horn that like buffs your defense or buffs your attack or like buffs the amount of critical hits you can do, or maybe it increases your resistance for like a certain element. It's a really complex weapon.
Dude, honestly, with hunting horn, I wish they had like collaboration hunting horns that would play little notes from whatever game they're from.
That would be
That
really
would be
cool.
cool.
I've seen a
Cause I had,
mod of a Hatsune Miku with a hunting horn.
oh wait, I think I've seen that too. There's a lot of
Yeah,
good mods for
yeah,
Monster Hunter.
I've seen it. It's so funny. Um, we we've been talking about weapons for a while, but I think we should talk about probably our favorite monsters. How about that?
Mm.
Oh yeah, that's a fun one.
It's also a hard one. There's so many good
There's
monsters.
so many good ones. Okay, we're not kidding. We're obviously we're just nerds talking about nerdy video games, but genuinely there's so many good monsters in Monster Hunter. Like boss wise, it's so hard to pick out of them.
Yeah, well, again, with Monster Hunter, it's like every fight is a boss fight, and that's kind of what can make it really fun.
Exactly, because like everything's a challenge, but you get so much satisfaction from taking down monsters. Oh man, I think my favorite monster in the whole series is probably the Nergigante.
That is a really good choice.
And the Nergigante was the mascot monster for Monster Hunter World back in 2018. And its entire gimmick is that it eats other elder dragon. It's an elder dragon that eats other elder dragons. Like it'll hunt them down and eat them. And in its gameplay, what it does is that it actually it grows spikes on all around its body. Which when certain spikes like grow on certain parts of its body, it'll prioritize those parts of the body with attacks. And what you can do is actually you can attack the monster and knock the spikes off to do more damage. But if you do not knock the spikes off in a certain amount of time, then the spikes will harden and you won't be doing a lot of damage, and your weapon will probably bounce off the monster if you hit it there. So it's like
Yeah.
it's really like good risk reward and like just managing like how to get all the spikes off while also just dealing optimal damage because it's a really aggressive monster and I just love the lore behind it.
The lore.
The lore. But
Mm.
what about y'all?
I was gonna talk about Devil Joe, but we already talked about him because we all love Pickle
We
Joe.
all love Devil Joe. He's a fan favorite.
One of the ones I really like. I don't know if it's my favorite because again, so many good monsters, but it's the Glavenus.
Ooh, that's such a good one. Holy crap.
Yeah, it's the that little trend on the internet a while ago of the 1,000-degree knife challenge. Just it
Oh,
did that. It did that with its tail to fight.
He's not even joking.
Yeah, because the one like we were saying before, they try to design the monsters in a way to where in that game's world, you could think, hey, that could actually be a thing. it doesn't just have a random explanation for why it has the things, because it has heat in its like mouth, and then its like mouth is like pretty sharp, but it's like a whetstone. So its tail is a blade, so it sharpens its tail with its mouth, heats it up, and then attacks you with it.
which is so sick.
Cuts you in half. It's, never mind.
Yeah, especially like the deviant version called like the Hellblade Glavenus. That thing just like menacing.
It's so
I
cool.
never fought that one, sadly, but
It was a pretty tough fight. Because also it went boom.
he cranks that degrees up to 2,000.
He cranks that
Yeah,
soldier
and
boy.
he goes boom.
Yeah, Glavenus is a really good one. He's a fun fight, and his gear, like, though it's not like meta, like it's not like top of the meta or whatnot. It's still really fun gear.
Oh
Good
yeah.
design gear too, and weapons. Like his
Oh, we
weapons
should
and
talk
gear.
about gear design too after this. Crap.
Here, let's go with Jay's one of his favorite monsters
Yeah,
though.
we need to go with Jay's favorite monster.
Honestly, Chaotic Gormagala.
Fair.
Dang, that is a good one. Tell
He's
us about
such a hard fight, but he is so cool.
Tell us.
It's like
Jay.
the yin yang design too.
Yeah.
You want to explain?
What were you saying?
Explain why you like him, man. Like, go on. Give us the detail.
Because he's unique. Like the design is incredible. Like you don't see any. There's no other monster like him, and it's just so unique. And his attacks have really crazy visuals, especially in Rise. Never fought him in the older games, but in Rise, his attacks are insane looking.
I mean, his attacks are pretty cool in 4 Ultimate too.
Yeah, and then
Generations.
and just the concept behind him is really cool too.
Yeah,
Like
like
getting interrupted in the middle of his metamorphosis.
Yeah, like a failed
Like-
metamorphosis of like a creature, like literally
Yeah.
like a failed product of nature.
Yeah,
Which actually I looked it up, by the way. It's called hematabel oh my lord. Hold up.
Yeah, you're right.
No, we're good. We're good. How to pronounce Control V?
Guys having a skill issue with speech.
I'm literally about to show you this. Oh my lord! Here, here. Look at this. Look at this word.
Here, give me a second. I'm still trying to shiny hunt. Let's see.
Hemimetabolous.
Hemi hold on.
Hemimetaboly.
sounds like you're trying to say, "Hand me the tablet."
I think it's like the
Hemimetabolous.
part that makes it weird.
Hemimetabolous. Okay, that's it. Hemimetabolous.
Hemimetabolous.
Yeah, but that's essentially like failed metamorphosis for like caterpillars. But imagine that for like an elder dragon, like a really powerful like reptile, which is so sick. Which I love Gormagala for, because it actually uses moves of its original form of original Gormagala and its Shigaru Mugala form, because it's like an in between of both, which is so cool.
Yeah, the concept is just amazing.
It's so good.
Guy, before we go into gear, can I talk about two of the like more unique monsters in the franchise?
No, you cannot go for it.
Yeah, because I just want to like give the viewers a good idea of like how creative they can get with the designs, or also just how menacing some of them can be. So another one from 4 Ultimate, because 4 Ultimate's my baby, I just love it, is the Dalamadur.
Ooh, that's such a good one.
Yeah, just this massive snake. It's like towering over you.
For Ultimate also have the water fighting, or am I thinking of a different game?
No, that's 3.
Okay. I'm thinking of a different monster. My bad. But
Yeah.
Dalamadur, like the big snake that. Oh yeah, he's
4
mad.
Ultimate's main thing was the verticality it added to the series. So that's where like climbing was added, mounting the monsters, which mounting a monster is essentially when you jump, you're in the air and you attack a monster. There's a chance that you knock the monster down, you jump on it, you stab its back a bunch of times, and if you're successful in doing that enough times, it rolls over and you can hit it with your weapon some more.
Yeah, and you get like a good DPS window for doing it. It's pretty rewarding.
Yeah, that and for your teammates who like aren't fighting the monster, I mean, they could take time to heal, just get their stamina back, put some buffs on, sharpen their weapon. It's a really good mechanic. But yeah, for Ultimate's verticality, one way they express that in the monster is Dalamadur. It's just this massive towering beast. It's like a colossal titan attack on Titan. You know, you're just a little guy and there's this massive thing. Because it's one of the biggest monsters in the series. Like, one of the maps in World has the dead carcass of it in
Or
it.
at least
And
like theorized to be, yeah.
well, I'm pretty sure it's the dead carcass because that thing looks exactly like Dalamadur. You just run around the place.
Yeah, it's so cool though. But sorry for interrupting. Please
No,
continue.
you're good.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you climb up its like massive body to like attack different parts of it, but then it knocks you down, and then you're just trying to figure out how you can fight this hulking beast while it's like slamming its tail down on you, coiling around, breathing like supernova attacks your way. So
Yeah,
that's
that's definitely one of the more unique fights in this series, like as a whole.
yeah, I
'Cause
really
I
love
don't
that.
think there's only one other monster. I think that he's not as big, but he comes close, and I think he's considered a black, not a black dragon, but an elder dragon.
Like
Who's that?
really big.
He's really big. I forget his name, but like he's a siege almost. Like you have to. He's running from
Bao
he's running from
Shenlong.
Fatalis. Yeah, Shalong. Yeah,
Yeah,
that
Well,
Shalom.
guy.
he was
Oh god,
he was
yeah.
he was
Yeah,
kind of
he's
he was kind
massive.
of boring fight.
He's a boring fight, but like in size wise, he's like the closest next to Dalamadur, I think.
Now, Dalmadur is massive, which is
Oh
crazy
yeah,
to think because 4 Ultimate was on the 3DS. So,
I think you're
if we
forgetting
could ever
Yeah.
Zora Magdaros.
Zora Magdaros, oh yeah, or Darren Morin too. That's another really massive one, and that's in the beginning of 4 Ultimate. 4 Ultimate has a good intro,
True.
but
but-
yeah,
That's just
that,
monsters,
that
yeah.
yeah, that's one of my favorites from 4 Ultimate. But last one before we move on to Gear,
Yeah, go for it.
I'm pretty sure you guys won't have seen or like fought against this one before. Have you guys ever fought against or seen Actol Ka?
sounds
Oh,
familiar. Not gonna lie.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's the final boss of Generations Ultimate, right?
Yes.
Yes,
How do you
that's
spell
such
his
a good fight.
Atol Ka. I'm sorry, my bad.
Oh my god. Explain the
But
mechanic
yeah,
of that, please. It's
for,
so
for
cool.
for the final boss in most of the games, it's usually like an Elder Dragon or just this like these massive beasts that are really intimidating. But then you get to the end of Generations Ultimate, it's a bug. It's a bug. It's a little spider, which you're like, this is kind of lame. I don't think this is cool. But then it starts just spinning its webs around, like it's putting its strings around, like it's the things like Jolene from JoJo's Stone Ocean, and then like it's grabbing like steel beams, throwing them at you, hurling them. It's picking up Dragonators, which are these massive spears that are used to impale dragons in the game.
And they do like thousands of damage too. They're really in
Yeah,
for strategy.
so now they're getting thrown at you instead of you using them to beat up the monster. And then finally, when you think that's it starts digging something out of the ground. You're like, what is it doing? What is it cooking? So then it uses its threads to pull up a massive like mech.
Yeah, that monster. Okay, I know what you're talking about now.
Yeah, it pulls up this like dragon Gundam monster that it pilots to like stomp you down and stuff. You gotta climb that thing to destroy the threads that are keeping it together, and then fight the core, which is Atolka.
It's such a
Which
cool fight.
Yeah, there is nothing like that in the series. It was so cool the first time I was playing it because again, it's just a difference in expectations, or it portrays your expectations because you think it's like this is kind of lame for all that build up they were having. They're saying this is a massive beast, but then you're fighting it, and then boom, out of the ground comes this massive Gundam dragon that's about to stomp you to death.
It's so cool. Oh God. Can we talk about this monster?
Oh, sure, dude. I love the monsters.
God. God. Iceborne final boss. What is?
Safi Jiva?
No,
Xenojiva?
that's a raid. Oh God. Well, let me talk about that one too. Let's talk about that one too while I'm trying to
Are you talking about like Fatalis final boss
No. It's just like the story.
or like story? Okay, story.
Yeah.
Volcana?
While I'm. Say what?
Sh-
Volcana?
oh,
Final
No,
boss?
not
Shara,
Volcano. No,
Shara,
no. Yeah,
Shara.
Shara Ishvalda. God, let's talk about.
Oh, you're talking about Rise. My bad.
Yeah. No.
That
That's Iceborne.
what world? No, I
Wait,
was
no.
talking. I was talking
Oh,
about
I'm
Rise.
stupid. Hold up. Yeah, I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
Shara's
You're good.
falling.
But
Jay, come on, you're the one
It's
who
been a
played
while.
World.
I have played World, but like my memory's messed up. It's been a while.
Well, before we talk about that, Safi Jiva is a raid monster, which for raids essentially you have to do multiple quests of the same monster, and the more progress you make in like individual quests, the more like you come close to actually defeating it. As this raid goes on, your progress gets saved, but once you eventually defeat it, your progress will reset. Which progress not as in like weapons or anything. It's just that like the raid itself like will reset and you have to restart like trying to hunt it again. But you get really good weapons out of it. Really good customizable weapons too. But with Safi Jiva, it was such a cool monster because um it is actually the grown-up form of the previous final boss from Monster Hunter World before the DLC, Xenojiva. So Xenojiva would like do metamorphosis and turn into Safi Jiva, which it's such a cool fight. It's such a cool fight because it uses like the same like energy attacks and whatnot as like Xenojiva, but like because it's grown up, it knows how to control the energy more, and it's like they've such concentrated blast, and the AI is so good. It's so
There's
freaking good.
they will attack in that fight that's so scary, but I love it.
God, what
I don't-
it's like the star of something, right?
Yeah, and it's basically this nuke, and you got to get behind cover or you die. It's so, and the visuals of the attack is awesome. Like the build up to it. Oh,
It's so good.
Now that I think about it, though, doesn't that mean like in the game we're spawn camping Xenojiva?
Technically,
yeah,
technically.
you are spawn camping Xenojiva.
Xenojiva is like the baby form, but like we watch it hatch then fight it.
Yeah, you're spawn camping.
The big attack for Safi Jiva is called Sapphire of the Emperor. That is fucking badass. Holy shit.
Edgy ass name, but it kills you.
It kills you in one hit, yeah. But oh god, and one more monster I wanted to talk about is it's called Shara Ishvalda. It is it's like the final boss of the story of Monster Hunter World Iceborne. It is when you first fight it, you don't understand like what it is. It's just like it looks like a heap of rocks that are clumped together, and they're just like slamming and fighting you. But when you hit a certain when you hit the damage threshold in the phase and you've broken enough parts, the rocks will actually shed off and it'll actually reveal the real monster that is that was hiding in the rocks, which is Shara Ishvalda. It's so cool because like it adds like an ecology to the monster, seeing how like it has the ability to like stick rocks to itself because of like I think it's because of the material it has on its arms, and not just that, but it also uses like sound waves and vibrations from its arms to like manipulate the ground and let it like dig and whatnot. It's such a cool monster. But
Yeah, this is a realistic design. And again, like portrayal of expectations. Again, you're looking at this random rock thing, and then it starts using what looks like psychic attacks on you with its like invisible arms to kill you.
Exactly. It's so cool. But I think we should probably segue towards the gear now. God, we love these games so much. We can go on it for hours.
Do we get to talk about like solely the monsters?
I know the monsters are so good. But yeah, let's talk about some of the gear. So we had mentioned earlier that that you can use the parts of the monsters that you hunt and create gear out of them. Well, the gear that you make they kind of look like the monster themselves. So like, let's say the mascot of the series is called a Rathalos. It has like signature spikes coming out of its head and horns and out of its wings and whatnot. Those spikes will be integrated into the armor, and like you look like a humanoid like Rathalos essentially with that armor, which is really cool.
Yeah, because the best part about like the gear design is it just straight up looks like they like took the scales of the monster, the different parts, and then su- like sewed it together and then like forged it. So
They
like,
did a good job of making it feel like you just carved that off the monster.
well, again, that's another thing you do with monsters. You take your knife after you kill it, you
Yeah.
carve parts out.
Exactly.
Well, so they do a good job of making you feel like you actually did that, and it's cool.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
Instead
it
of just
you're
be
really
like,
there and you
improves
"Okay,
see
the
it.
we're
Yeah,
immersion.
because you look at it, which is really cool.
Yeah, you get
But it doesn't just go for that, like the armor. It also goes for like the weapons. Like oh god, there's one. There is, what is it? God, I'm trying to think of a thing.
what you're
Oh yeah,
thinking.
there's a monster called Chameleos. Okay, and it's like a chameleon. It's an elder dragon, but it has the ability to like turn invisible like mid fight for certain attacks, and obviously like you can see like his outline and whatnot to see what the attack is, but you have to be aware of it. And some of the gear that you can get for him, the weapons that he has they're so cool because when you draw them out, they actually like go in between like visibility and invisibility, like the weapons.
actually didn't know that."
Yeah, they do, which is so cool.
Yeah, that is really cool.
Not just that, but like another really cool weapon part is Safi Jiva, the monster that we were talking about earlier. Its weapons, when you unsheath them, the parts of them there's like in the design of them, there are like little wrappings around them, and sometimes the weapons will have like an eyeball in the center of them that's closed
We
off.
gotta talk about Safi Jiva's armor. We gotta talk about
Oh,
Safi
we'll
Jiva's
talk about
armor.
the armor. We'll talk about the armor, but this also goes for the armor too. But when you unsheath the armor, the straps on the weapon and the eyeball that might be on there, like they unwrap and the eyeball opens, and not just that, but the appearance of the armor changes, which is so
It's you,
cool.
Safi Jiva, but it's the coolest thing. Oh my god!
It's so cool.
It's like you're going Super Saiyan. It's really cool.
It's so sick. That was some of the sickest armor in that entire game. I'm not even gonna lie.
Oh, definitely. I'd I'd put that up there at top two. I mean, like top three, maybe number one, honestly.
Yeah,
Because
it's so
Fatalis'
cool.
armor is also really cool, but Safi Jiva's is just so unique because the transformation is so cool.
I know it's so sick.
They made sure to redeem themselves after they messed up some of the weapon designs.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a little bit of a controversy in Monster Hunter World. Is that a lot of people did not like the weapon designs because they kind of like they were kind of based off one design instead of like being unique with like putting like different parts of monsters into the design, but instead they just had like, oh, here's a weapon that's made of bone and then like a little bit of aspects of other monsters. Yay!
Yeah, because like some monsters' weapons just got like gutted. Like the Tigrex weapons, you had these like tiger stripes and all that. Is like they had the spikes coming out the teeth and stuff that like made it menacing. And then it's like, let's welcome to the bone zone. You get bones and then like a little bit of Tigrex. Or one of the best comparisons I saw was like with the Brachydios, this cool monster that's like a really dark blue, but then it also has like these glowing fists of like just lime green ooze that like explode on contact.
They did a good job with Brachydios and World, I think.
But yeah, good really funny comparison I saw is with the Brachydios dual blades, which is like two swords. Is it was like two chicken drumsticks, but then they put like a blue feather on it.
Oh yeah, it was something dumb like that. It was so weird.
Here are your drumsticks, sir.
Yeah, but it's like that's the essential with it is that like unfortunately like some designs just didn't like come out that well in World, but like they fixed that in Rise when there are a lot more unique weapons now God, what's a really like unique weapon that y'all can think of off the top of your mind?
Chainsaw longsword.
What weapon is that?
I don't remember what line it is exactly, but it's literally here. Let me pull up the picture for you. But it's literally
Please.
a longsword that is a chainsaw.
That is actually really cool. I didn't know that existed. Not gonna lie.
the Chain Slaughter. What?
Yeah. No, I love that thing in 4 Ultimate.
Oh my god, that thing looks awesome.
Oh no, wonders in four. Okay, yeah. The weapon
All the-
designs
all
in
the
the other
best
games were really cool.
Yeah, all the best designs came from 4 Ultimate. I'm definitely not wrong on that.
I'll give that to you, honestly.
Oh my god, the
For
dual
Ultimate
blade.
has really cool designs.
Yo, the dual blades have like they have like 2 little chainsaw blades. Holy crap. They're called twin chainsaws. That's crazy.
Starts playing the Chainsaw Man opening.
Oh, okay, we're not getting copyrighted. Please don't copyright us.
Hey, we don't know the words of the song. We
That's
can't
right.
get copyrighted if we're not coming anywhere close to it.
I'm a generic white American. I do not speak languages besides English,
I only know American.
also known as
Yeah.
American.
We only know the American language. We don't know what the other languages are.
American language. Oh
No,
my
guys,
God.
I know the other languages. By that I mean I can count the 10 in Spanish and Japanese.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Nothing else.
There's nothing else. But yeah, going back into like weapon designs, like the designers, they put a lot of like effort into making the weapons feel unique. Like obviously like they play the same. Like if a greatsword that looks like a chainsaw and one that looks like a brick, like they may look different, but like the gameplay is gonna be the same. But it's like they put so much into it. It's
Bricks
really
might
cool.
get hard.
Well, another thing I like about them too is sometimes they'll have an idea for the weapon line and stick with that. Like the Chameleos line you mentioned before, a lot of that is like supposed to like be a genie, so it like coils around all that. It like looks mystical in a way,
Yeah.
and then like the smoke coming out instead is like the invisibility you were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Or
Oh.
one of them I remember again from 4 Ultimate. I just keep talking about 4 Ultimate.
You really liked that game.
It was a good game. It was the best like $20 I ever spent.
Changed your life forever.
But yeah, the like final boss of that game, like Gog Mazios, its weapons were based on like torture weapons. It's like it was an entire line.
That is sick. Oh my God.
And even then, just like seeing the different ways they interpret the monster parts going into the weapons is really cool. Like I mentioned Tigrex, like Tigrex is like this thing that just like charges at you with these massive claws, trying to just run you over and just bite you,
Mm-hmm.
which is really menacing. Like in its greatsword, it has these like big teeth jutting out of it. It's like just rip into the enemy,
Yeah, just a rip. Oh God, I know exactly what you're talking about. That one's so sick.
rip and tear until it's done.
Oh God, this just reminded me. I think we need to talk about some of the collaborations they've done with Monster Hunter.
Dude, they love collaborations.
I love
not-
the
not-
amount of collaborations.
And they're good too. And they're
really
good too.
Yeah, they're really good.
Monster Hunter has the best collaborations. They haven't been doing as good nowadays with collaborations, but even then, they're still really good.
To connect this back to a previous episode, because Capcom is the publisher of Resident Evil and Monster Hunter, they'll often have the Monster Hunter games collab with the Resident Evil games, and they'll dedicate like an entire quest to Resident Evil. Like I remember back in Monster Hunter World, where that was such a good quest. You had to fight like a monster called Valhazak, which its entire like
Here's an Elder Dragon.
who's an Elder Dragon, but he essentially like the armor that he kind of like wore around his skin was like decayed corpses, and you would have to fight him. But what was unique about him is that he actually, for this like specific quest and only this quest, he applied a zombie effect to like mimic the zombies in Resident Evil 2, which was like the big remake for the game at the time. And it was really cool because like not only did they create like an entire status effect just for that event, you actually could turn yourself, if you completed the quest, you gained a weapon charm that had the umbrella symbol on it from Resident Evil, and you unlocked an emote which could turn yourself into a zombie.
Which I think that's really cool.
Exactly. Oh yeah, and don't forget the handler is Mr. X.
Dude, I never saw that, but I seen it in some videos, but I never like did it in my game. But it was so
It
funny.
was so funny. Oh my god.
Yeah.
But
No, they did a really good job with collaborations in older games because, like,
yeah.
especially since they were like exclusively on Nintendo consoles, a lot of Nintendo IPs got pulled in. It's like there was Legend of Zelda, there was Metroid, more Zelda. There was an Animal Crossing one.
I
Your
think I remember
Palicos, yeah, your Palicos could be Mr. Rossetti and Isabelle.
that. That's awesome, actually. Holy crap.
What's the name of the game with the wolf? They did a collaboration in Rise.
With the wolf?
Yeah, it's like the red and white wolf.
Okami. That's
Yeah, yeah,
Amaterasu.
yeah,
Oh
that game.
yeah, they did that. That one was really cool.
The really
Yeah.
cool thing about that is when I was like starting up my file for Rise, like when the game came out, I named my dog Amaterasu and like gave it that color scheme, and then it actually had a costume released for it later on, so I gave it that costume
Which is
So
so
now
cool.
he's just
because I just happened to be playing Okami at the time when I started Rise, so I was like, hey, I have a dog here, I'm gonna put the dog there.
True.
What is the dog doing?
Um, they did a. I remember they did a collaboration. This is a long time ago. They did a collaboration with Attack on Titan.
Oh yeah, that was a while.
That was a really long time ago, and they did a. They made a Devil Joe, like have the skin of like the Colossal Titan.
I don't remember that.
Look it up.
Again,
That was a
again,
real
old.
thing.
Was it a world?
No, old.
Oh
Old
no,
game.
it was.
No, old game.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Oh,
Older
okay.
games had the best collaborations because they haven't been doing nearly as many of them anymore.
I didn't
Yeah,
even
but it's okay.
Like
know
I'll
they
give them
could.
some credit. Like they do put a lot of effort into them now. Like with like Akuma having like his taunts and stuff, or turning the knives into like Hadoken. But I still prefer the older games collaborations.
No, I completely understand that.
Because I didn't know that was a thing.
And now you
That
know.
and like a lot of the times they would actually be like armor sets you could use. Like in Generations Ultimate, there was this one based on the game like Strider, and it was a dual blade set, but it was only one sword, but the hand like didn't have
Okay.
anything, so the hand was the other sword.
Okay,
So
yeah, I've seen that before. I just never registered
yeah,
that was that was a
yeah,
collab.
so yeah. In the Strider game, like you'd be running around like spamming the sword attack up in the air. So to represent that, you would use the dual blades aerial style, jump up, do like this Beyblade spinning motion, and then like come down and strike them along with all your other attacks, which that was one of my favorite styles and weapons in the game.
That's really sick, actually. Holy crap.
Yeah, because I remember fighting a monster like Amaterasu, which is massive dragon. I'm flying up while stabbing it a bunch of times. I'm coming down, and then I keep swinging at it.
Eh,
That's cool.
what's another good collaboration they did? The Witcher and Final Fantasy 14.
You can't forget that one. Those ones
Oh
are
my
massive.
god, those were so good. Holy crap. So
It is a crime they haven't had anything like that in Rise yet.
I know it's crazy. But so for reference, when Monster Hunter World was still getting like content updates like on a regular, they did a collaboration with Square Enix and Final Fantasy 14, and they released one of their like most famous enemies from that series, from the Final Fantasy series, the Behemoth, into Monster Hunter World as a fightable monster. And holy god, that was the hardest fight in the game for a while. Holy crap.
But he also gave you the best armor in the game for a while.
At the time, yes, at the time he did have the best armor set in the game, and it was so good. It was a really hard one, but like, what's so cool about that collaboration is that they actually changed the UI and everything. Like at the beginning of each Monster Hunter like quest, they would say like quest begin or like quest start or whatnot. They actually changed it just for that collaboration. Like, what was it, like quest begin or something like that, in like the Final Fantasy 14 style.
Yeah, it was really cool.
It was so cool, and like when you beat the behemoth, you would hear the Final Fantasy victory theme, the dun 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 that. But it's so cool. And then
Enjoy the singing.
yes. But they also released one of the enemies from The Witcher 3 into the game called the Leshen, and a boosted version of him called the Ancient Leshen. But for the
Different collaboration, by the way.
yeah,
It
completely
was-
different collaboration. Well, it was with The Witcher 3 and CD Projekt Red, the guys who made the
Yeah.
Cyberpunk. But it was so cool because you actually played as Geralt from The Witcher 3, and like how the lore explained it is that like Geralt traveled into a new world and he has to figure out how to get back to Witcher 3 land. But
Yeah, Gerald got isekai'd, basically.
he did. And oh my god, that quest was so good. It was so good. They let Geralt they played the entirety of that quest like a side quest in with The Witcher 3. I'm not even kidding. Like there were NPCs in Monster Hunter, the Monster Hunter does not do this. There are no like NPCs that you can have multiple dialogue options with or like change the outcome of it or anything. It's so cool.
Monster Hunter's always had a simple story, but I mean, you're never in Monster Hunter for the story.
Exactly.
There's also interaction in the quest where if you save the Pookie, like, because with the Pookie in the quest,
Oh yeah,
Remember
I
that?
Yeah, yeah, and oh my god, there was an extra cutscene at the end of the quest if you saved it or not. Yeah, but it's the collaboration like that like tries to like emulate the game style that they're collaborating with. Because if you actually save the Pookie during the quest before you fight the Leshen, not only will the Pookie help fight the Leshen with you, but at the end of the quest, you get an extra cutscene where it will come up to you and it'll actually give you a free attack gem, which you can put on your normal character. Which
I will
was
say
so
that
cool.
it is one of the saddest deaths in Monster Hunter. By that I mean Rise not having the Pookies.
What do you mean? It has
or-
Pookie.
Or the Poogies.
Oh, the Poogies. Oh, no, not
Yeah,
Poogie.
that's sorry, I was mixing them up. Poogies,
I
though.
love Poogie.
Yeah, dude, they were so cute. They were just these little pigs.
Okay,
I don't have them.
for reference, Poogies are like little pig creatures that
They're literally just pigs.
they're just pigs.
They're little pets.
They're little pigs that you can pet, and they're
They were
awesome.
adorable.
And if you built up friendship with them enough, they would follow you around in the base.
That was cool.
And it was
if you didn't
so
love
cool.
Pookie, you're dumb. And if you didn't name your Pookie Bacon, then you're also dumb.
I named him like, oh yeah, yeah. Oh my god, I remember what I named him Thick Meat.
That's
Really?
hilarious.
Things, don't you, guy?
Dude, Thick is literally my tag for everything. Like Thick something. Dude, my tag for Smash is Thick G.
Okay, self-promoting, I see.
Yeah, I'm self-promoting. Follow me
Shameless.
on. I'm kidding. No crap. I got asked this the other day. Like, what was this? What's like the significance of Thick G? I was like, dude, I have a fat ass, and my name is Guy.
What's the
Okay.
point in the name?
Yeah, quick question. When are we gonna get that ass reveal?
10,000 likes on this
Gotta
on this video.
For that.
10,000
Like
likes.
a only thing.
10,000 likes on the video. We
10,000
get an
likes on
ass
the video.
reveal.
Yep.
Ass reveal before the face reveal.
Before the face reveal. Yep. I'll do a
Like, wow.
feet reveal at 10,000 and then an ass reveal at 20.
All right, guys, can we do it? Can we get 10,000 likes for the ass reveal?
Oh my god. But
You
back to
know
Monster
you
Hunter. But yeah, I was getting off topic now. I hope through this episode, now wrapping things up, I hope this like has helped you viewers like get an idea of like what Monster Hunter is and how like it's really special to us. Because like though like we're just talking about like, oh, this monster's cool, this weapon's cool, this, it really is like one of the most rewarding gameplay systems I've ever had like with a game. Not only like in single player but also playing with online with friends, and it's so cooperative and it's so
You also meet good people when you play it too. Like
you do. And like me and Jay are like some of the best like friends we've ever like. He and I would seriously consider Jay one of my best friends, and I met him through Monster Hunter.
Honestly, stories like that are always really heartwarming.
It really is, because like I love Jay, I really do, and like like this friendship started because of Monster Hunter, so I feel really inclined to like talk about Monster Hunter for reasons like that.
And it's just good.
it's an amazing game series that everyone out there should check out.
It's just goated.
Like at least give it a try. Like it's not for everybody. Like I've heard people that don't like Monster Hunter because of the combat, and that's fair. Like some people like faster paced combat. Monster Hunter doesn't really have that.
And it's like a lot
But
of slower
it's-
paced combat. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
hits are slower, but they're a lot more rewarding.
Exactly.
Yeah,
You feel the
slow
hits
but
you get.
rewarding combat. Some people don't like that, but that's fair. But you should at least give it a try, though.
For sure. For
Great
reference,
game.
for
It has
reference,
a demo.
I am the big Souls fan that I am. I would not be a Souls fan like today if it wasn't for Monster Hunter. That's real.
Because the combat's somewhat similar in a
It's
way.
somewhat similar, and it helped me like ease into like the slowness of it. I'm being serious. Like
Yeah,
it like there would be no like Elden Ring or Bloodborne love from me if like Monster Hunter World or Monster Hunter Rise did not exist. That's real.
Yeah, maybe I should play Elden Ring then.
We should play Elden Ring. Yeah.
Like, no, I'm not playing it.
Nah. All right, but
Not because I don't want to, just to spite you, guy.
love you too. But yeah, that has been our episode of Monster Hunter from Fetch Quest. If you like our content, please do a true charged slash on that like and subscribe button and give us some algorithm, please, because Lord, do we need it. Thank you all very much, and I have been with my co-host Brewer and Jay. Thank you all very much for watching.
See you guys. Thanks for watching.